So how much fee should you charge working as a recruiter, either in an agency or working from home? Now, this is a question that a lot of people debate on. Most companies I work for tend to try and push a really high rate. And, you know, the customer, the client will never tell you, oh, the rate's too high, or they'll just never get back to you just based on rate being, you know, not a really good selling point. There's a lot of companies out there, and a lot of people are moving into the sort of internal recruiter. They're hiring an internal recruiter rather than outsourcing their work. So there's more competition and there's less clients out there as well. So the recruitment business is actually growing. However, it's growing in a different sort of direction from the agency or the freelance sort of recruiter. So in terms of fees you should charge, I think a very successful rate actually is 8 to 10%. Now, that's very appealing to sort of customers. Any lower than that, you're sort of eating into your costs. And also, you know, in terms of that, they might think, well, how can he operate on a sort of 5%? So I don't necessarily want to throw dirt on your name by saying, you know, I can do it for 5%. I would suggest doing a sort of flat fee model rather than charging a 5%. Anything lower than 7.5, charge a flat fee. It looks better, you know, 1,500, 2,500, £1,000, whatever you want to charge. That sort of rate would work better and look better. You know, working on percentage, a lot of people tend to don't like it. Certain industries prefer a flat fee model. So that's something you can look at in terms of fees. Most agencies tend to try and charge around 15 to 12%. The higher end try to charge 18 to 25. Typically, you've got to have a really long-standing relationship, and it costs a lot to sort of recruit for a 25% model. So if there's companies out there charging 15 to 25%, chances are they've got a few handful of clients actually working on that, and they've got very hard to sort roles. Now, if you can work on a role for 1 month and it takes, 3 months to actually fill from start to finish, and you work on it for a month, it's not really worth a 20%, where you could get 5 placements, you know, for 1,000 or 5, you know, a few £1,000, based on that. Or a very small 8% to 10% model. Most companies are tending to charge on big brand names, PSLs. They're charging 10 to 12%. I mean, the companies I've worked in the past, they've got really large organizations on 12%, 10%. And typically, you know, when you're pitching that to a client and you're working, you typically won't necessarily get, you know, be told you can charge that amount. But negotiating down can actually bring you a lot of business. Now, 10% is always better than no, you know, 20% of nothing. So 10% would work perfectly. I would definitely charge that. If a job is £20,000 and you charge 10%, you're going to make turnover of £2,000. But if you charge a flat fee model, which may appeal better and may actually secure you some clients, £1,500 is much better. Easier for you to work out if you spend £500 on costs. Labour, you pay yourself a salary, £1,000 goes into the business. So it's totally up to you what you want to charge. But this is my sort of understanding of the business model, the understanding of it. I mean, there's a YouTuber called Benjamin Nader. He does very well. Typically, he says he charges 10% and he grossed, you know, well over 100 grand. And he's doing very well for himself. So yeah, he's definitely, you know, 10% is, you know, you're undercutting everyone and you're still making a good amount of money.